Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Hot Corner. I'm your host, Brandon Magown, and I'm joined here today by Ellie Schuckman. Well, the regular season is just a week old, but there's already a ton to talk about. So let's kick things off by talking injuries. Both Felix Hernandez and Yordano Ventura left their last starts with minor injuries. Hernandez with some quad tightness and Ventura with some more cramping. Both players should be fine, but if they had to miss an extended period of time, which team do you think would be worse off?
I got to go with the Mariners. I just think that the Royals have a more solid team. You got guys, Jason Vargas, Jeremy Guthrie, Danny Duffy. I think that their starting rotation could afford to be a couple games without their ace. I mean, that's saying a lot, of course. It's Felix Hernandez. But I just think that the Mariners missing who they're missing, I think that the Royals would be better off.
I mean, it's a huge blow for both teams, especially, King Felix.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the most dominant pitchers in the game right now. Every time he goes out there, you think he could throw a no-hitter. He's already, has a perfect game. But I'd have to kind of disagree and say Ventura, just because, I mean, they've got off to such a hot start the Royals had. They're the last team who's undefeated now at 7-0. But Ventura right now, I know he's young, but he's their ace. He's got a live arm. And I just think that, he's after losing James Shields, he's the guy now who has to take the reins and lead this team every fifth day he goes out there. I kind of would have to say that I think that the Mariners probably have a little bit more complete team, at least with their pitching. They still have Iwakuma, Taijuan Walker, Paxton. I think that they could rely on those guys while Felix is out. With the other guys you mentioned with Duffy and those other guys in rotation for the Royals. They're good and they're proving right now that they're
right.
good. But I just think Ventura is too valuable to that starting rotation. And get the deep innings to get to that great bullpen.
Right.
And I think the lineup for the Royals might not be able to pick up the slack as much as the Mariners lineup.
I think just right now, at least, I mean, they're feeding off of what they did last year. They're 7-0, and I just think that the Mariners, when they're losing Felix Hernandez, he's led their team. If without him, what are they going to do?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think most people would agree that the Mariners would be worse off when you lose a guy as the high caliber as Felix is. But I don't know. I just think Ventura is. I mean, they find huge value in him. They just signed him to an extension. So I think he would be greatly missed in that rotation for the Royals. All right, let's move on to our second topic, though. On previous shows, we've discussed the new pace of play rules. And MLB actually just came out with a statement saying that they've already seen positive results, shaving off about 8 minutes so far this time last year for the games. But trying to speed up the game obviously goes out the window once extra innings come into play. On Friday, the Yankees and the Red Sox, they have long games anyway, but they went 19 innings. So in circumstances like this, do you think it would be beneficial to try and put some sort of time limit on the games once extra innings come around?
I don't think that you can put an actual time limit on the games. When we talked about that before, baseball, it's the only professional sport that doesn't have a time limit, and I do think we have to keep it that way. However, in extreme circumstances, when you're going into 19 innings, the game's out at 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
The players, they have no gas left in them. They're jogging in the bases. The pitches are going everywhere. Something has to be done because what's the point in playing at that?
Yeah.
Maybe get into a system where once you hit 12 innings, maybe it ends in a tie, and then you do what the NHL did and you have some type of regulation and overtime wins. Something like that. I don't know what the answer exactly is, but I don't want to see an actual time limit put on the game itself.
Yeah, I agree. I don't want to see a clock. I think right now the improvements they've made is great. The only clock, being in between innings. I never want to see a pitch clock come into play.
No.
But I mean, I personally like extra innings. Well, especially when your team comes out on top. But especially being at the game, it's just fun staying there late. I mean, but you said that all the West Coast games finished even before this game. On the East Coast finished up. But I don't know. I like having a definitive winner at the end of the game. I think maybe you then try and bring down the time even more in between innings. Maybe the pitchers get less warm-up tosses or something like that. Maybe you then limit the amount of substitutions you can do, pitching changes, maybe even, limit the amount of mound visits, for pitching coaches or even just the catcher going out, just something to speed up even more. But I like that there has to be a definitive winner once the game is over, so that the next day hey, we lost there, we got to go out and get this game, or hey, we won, let's ride on this momentum. So
yeah, no, I mean, I agree with you there. I mean, you never want to see that, but you want a definite winner. But at the same time, something has to be done when they're starting to play 2 games, if not longer.
Yeah, I know. It's quite rare. I mean, you do see extra inning games maybe go 14, 15 innings, but 19, even 20 innings plus we've seen, but they're not as common. But I agree. It's something that we will keep an eye on because they're trying to speed up the game. But like I said, it goes right out the window when extra innings come around.
Yeah.
So that'll do it for our first segment. After the break, we'll get into our rapid fire round. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to the Hot Corner. It's now time for our rapid fire round. We each ask 3 questions and have 30 seconds to respond. So we're going to start with your questions. Boston has unsurprisingly got off to a hot start, all the moves they made in the offseason. And so has outfielder Mookie Betts. Are we seeing a superstar in the making here?
With the way he's playing right now, I have to believe so. This is a guy, don't forget, they just moved him from second base to center field. That's a big adjustment, and he's done it seamlessly. He's a young guy, too. We saw it in the Boston's home opener against the Nationals. He stole the home run from Harper. He's been producing at the plate, massive homer there. He has speed on the bases, and that's showing his smarts. And the way he's playing right now, even his own teammates say it's unbelievable. If he can keep that going, who knows what's going to happen.
I know. I mean, he's been a top prospect for them. I mean, they're holding off trading him, with the talks to Cole Hamels. So I think we are seeing a superstar. I mean, you said it was just the smarts on the base paths. I mean, he had the double steal where he stole second, looked up, saw no one was covering third, and immediately took off. I mean, this guy's doing it all right now, and I think if he continues to do it, Trout-like, Harper-like, these kind of guys that we're seeing. So it's going to be exciting to watch. For your second question, with Matt Harvey returning to the Mets and having pretty good results through his first 2 starts, can he be the boost the Mets need to get them going in the right direction?
I think so. This is also a Mets team. They've now had 6 consecutive losing seasons. They need something, and he might just be that spark. He was out for a whole season last year. They have him back now. He has played pretty well in his first 2 starts. They already have a solid rotation. They have a solid bullpen, and he could be that extra something that they need to get themselves going.
They're going to need it because now that they have injuries. David Wright looks like he might be out for a while. Maybe Kadire got hit in the hand there. But yeah, I mean, his first start, even spring training, he's hitting high 90s, 97, 98, looking real good. Last night got roughed up a little bit, but you still battled to get the win. So they're going to need him especially if the offense goes a little quiet. They're going to need him every 5th day. So completely agree. And for your final question, the Nationals, who a lot of people predicted to go to the World Series this year, and they've gotten off to a really slow start, making a lot of errors out in the field, just not hitting. Is this cause for concern already?
I don't think so, not yet at least. I mean, we're only about a week and a half here into the season. Anything can happen still. However, they've looked like a mess out there. Their defense has been all over the place. They're not hitting. They're not producing. But I don't think it's cause for concern just yet. I mean, no, their pitching hasn't been there. But at the same time, like I said, we're only a week and a half in, and with all the predictions, a lot of times when you have all that anticipation, it can have an effect, and maybe that's just what we're seeing right now. But as they keep playing, I gotta believe that they'll work out the kinks here.
They're gonna have to figure it out fast because the division I still think is gonna be theirs. I don't think they're gonna have too much competition. The Mets, the Marlins, Braves, even. But I mean, you're right. The defense is atrocious. They basically gave the Mets a few wins there because of Ian Desmond's errors. So.
Yeah.
All right, time for you to ask me my questions.
Right. Now, for your first question, there's been a trend lately around baseball where teams are batting their best hitter second. Is this the right thing for these teams to do?
When I first saw this, I wasn't completely convinced. I was still, on the old theory that your best hitter should hit third. But the more I read into it, and I know the sabermetrics people love that your best hitter should go second, I'm starting to buy into it because I think your leadoff hitter should be the guy with the best on-base percentage, your speed. And the more I read that they're saying that the second-hole hitter is going to get just about the same opportunities to drive in runs as the 3-hole hitter. He's just getting more at-bats over the season, about 18 to 20 at-bats, which is not a lot if you look at it, but that's about 4 or 5 games. So if you're getting those chances, just more often, why not? The season can come down to 1 game or 2, and if you lost it because your best hitter was waiting on deck while the game ended.
Right. No, and absolutely. And I mean, I believe your first batter has to be able to get on base, and to have that guy right behind him who can maybe bring him home, that's what you really need to see.
So I'm buying into it right now. I think the teams are doing it right. Pedroia, Trout, all those guys are batting second, and they are those teams' best hitters.
Exactly. So we'll see what happens. For your second question, which lineup has the better 3, 4, and 5 hitters? The Blue Jays or the Tigers?
Both teams. Those guys, great power production for the Blue Jays. You have Edwin Encarnacion, Bautista, and Josh Donaldson for the Tigers. You have Victor Martinez, Miguel Cabrera, and Cespedes. These guys are unbelievable. I mean, all of them. I have to give the edge to the Tigers, though, just because Miguel Cabrera, I mean, probably, if not the best, the second best hitter in baseball behind Trout. Victor Martinez, switch hitter, does not strike out a lot, hits a lot of home runs. And then Cespedes, great power there. And then even now, you can switch out Cespedes for JD Martinez and lose almost nothing. So I'd have to give the advantage to the Tigers. But Josh Donaldson, great addition to the Blue Jays there to give them that 1-2-3 punch there.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there. So, for your final question, Cubs pitcher John Lester has not looked great over his first 2 starts of the season and has had problems with holding runners on. Is it too early to start freaking out?
I think it's a tad early to start freaking out. The opening night against the Cardinals, he did not look good at all. Second start, again, kind of got roughed up. But the main issue is now holding runners on. This issue just kind of came out. He hadn't attempted to throw over to first in almost 2 years. And for the first time the other day, he attempted to throw over. First one was okay, just put nothing on it, though. Second one, completely threw it away. He's going to have to start learning how to hold runners on better, or these teams are just going to take advantage of him and just run wild. So I think it's too early. He'll get it going pitching-wise. The season's just started. But I think he's going to figure out something on the base path for those runners.
You have to be able to cut down that running game.
Absolutely. But all right, that'll do it for a rapid fire round. After the break, we'll wrap things up with our division predictions. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. So I know the season is a week old and in full swing, but we're still going to give our division predictions here because why not? It's all fun and games. So
there we go.
Let's start in the NL East. Who do you have winning that division?
Got to go with the Nationals. There's no doubt about that one. Their starting rotation is phenomenal. Their offense is phenomenal. And I mean, so far we talked about it, they have a rough start, but I gotta believe that they're gonna figure it out and they'll be the ones to.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, that rotation probably the best in baseball. They just got Jason Worth back. Denard Spanish is right behind him. The offense will get going as long as they clean up on defense. They should be fine. And like I said, the Mets right now, they're kind of their own worst enemy, falling apart there.
Yeah.
Marlins, they've gone off to a really slow start. Yeah, the Braves got off to a good start, but they're in kind of rebuilding mode. I don't see them kind of giving any sort of fight. Obviously, the Phillies, they're not going to do anything. So I think this division is definitely the Nationals division, and they're going to be fine. They'll get things going in
the long run. After a whole season, a long 162 games, they're going to be the ones to come out on top.
All right, what about the Central? Who do you have winning that?
The Central, I got to go with the Cardinals. I just think that their rotation, and they have a really solid outfield. I think after a long season, that's what's going to stand out.
I completely agree. I mean, I have it being close again. I know they only won that division by a game last year. I have them winning. Pirates are going to put up a good fight. And I'll tell you what, the Reds, they're not going to be as bad as everyone thinks. They, again, might be kind of a thorn in the side of those two teams. But the Cardinals, they just year after year find a way to get it done. And you can't go against them. I think they're going to win that one.
Absolutely.
So, all right, to finish it up out west, who do you have that?
I got to go with the Dodgers. I just think they have Yasmani Grandal, Jimmy Rollins, Howie Kendricks. I just think that these guys can really combine for some solid offense and some solid defense, too.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think we agree. I had the Dodgers winning that one. I had these are my predictions, and I had to stick with them before the season started.
Right.
But as I was watching, the first few games here in the week, Padres looking good, and the Dodgers, a lot of question marks in their bullpen. And especially after the Padres got Craig Kimbrell, it's hard to pick against them. But the Dodgers have had 2 walk-off wins right now against the Mariners, a team who's going to be great this year out in the AL.
Yeah.
They've looked fine, and still you have Kershaw and Adrian Gonzalez that got off to a hot start.
Yeah.
So they're looking good, and I just think if they have any holes to fill with that payroll, they can go out there and fill it. So
I think so too.
I think that. But who do you have for the wild cards?
For the wild cards, it's going to be tough, but I think the Pirates over the Giants. I mean, we talked about them. I think the Pirates are going to be right up there all season. And the Giants, if they can stay healthy, I think their age may catch up to them. It's just a big if there. So I think it's going to be the Pirates.
What about the second one, though? I mean, who do you have both going in? Do you have the Pirates and the Giants both making the wild card?
I guess so, yeah.
See, I agree with the Pirates. I think they're going to be in it and just lose that division. But I have the Padres, winning that second one because of all the moves they made. They look pretty good so far in this first week. And like I said, the addition of Craig Kimbrell only going to put them over the top. But then I probably have the Padres beating out the Pirates in that one-game wild card. Yeah. But let's move on to the AL. Start the AL East. Who do you have winning that division?
Red Sox, hands down. I mean, you look at this division and what it's been the past couple of years, it's just nowhere close to that. But I got to think that the Red Sox, we talked about Mookie Betts. I just think they're the most solid team. And I think they're just going to.
It's going to be a fun division to watch. I, too, have the Red Sox winning this division. Not by much, though. Their offense is great, but again, the questions with their pitching. Clay Buchholz looked great on opening day, but then struggled his next start out. But that whole division, the pitching is up in the air. Orioles, again, they look good. Their pitching is decent enough to keep them in it. Blue Jays, I think, are going to be the biggest problem for the Red Sox with that lineup. And their pitching is not bad awful either with Burley, Dickey, Daniel Norris. So they're going to be good. But I just think the offensive pieces for the Red Sox are going to put them over the top there. All right, for the Central, who do you have that one?
I'm going with the Tigers. Again, the solid rotation. You got David Price, Anibal Sanchez, Justin Verlander. You can't count that guy out. I just think when it comes down to it for them, the pitching is what's going to drive them forward.
Yeah, again, the beginning of the season, I have the White Sox win this division. I know they got off to a really slow start. I'm still kind of picking them. A lot of expectations coming in. Good rotation front end with Sale and Samardzija, and then you have Jose Abreu, Melky Cabrera, and Adam LaRoche. But the Tigers, they just are hitting the cover off the ball right now, and the Royals too. Like we said, undefeated. It's going to be another fun division to watch. But I think the White Sox could surprise a lot of people and squeak in there this year and maybe win their first division in quite a few seasons. Let's finish up out the West. Who do you have there?
Got to go with the Mariners. Their pitching, their offense, and at this point, it's fan expectations. They were right there last season. It's been building up to this. I think this is going to be their year.
I completely agree. I mean, the addition of Nelson Cruz out there already off to a hot start. Has homered in a few straight games now. Robinson Cano, and then we talked about the rotation. Felix Hernandez, Taijuan Walker, Iwakuma, Paxton. They all around now look really good. Ackley and Seager, they look great. So I have them finally winning that division and bringing winning baseball back to Seattle there. For the wild card, who do you have there?
The wild card, it's close, but I think we're going to see the Blue Jays in there. And we talked about, I think, the White Sox also. I think they're going to be right up there all season. And when it comes down to it, I think they're going to be the ones to make it there.
We kind of agree again. I mean, you had the Tigers winning that division. I have them winning the wild card. And then I have the Blue Jays winning the wild card, too. I think that would be a fantastic wild card game between the offensive lineups there. We talked about it, the 3-5 hitters. That would be a great game. I would like to see the Tigers and the Blue Jays there. But we seem to, kind of agree. Again, our predictions, sometimes they go out the window and they're surprising.
Who knows what's going to happen?
The Royals were the
last year Royals,
last year, so you never know. But it's always fun to talk about and predict. So. Oh, that'll do it for another episode of The Hot Corner. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, if you're interested in joining LTV, like us on Facebook or email us at ltv@tcnj.edu. For Ellie Schuckman, I'm Brandon Magown. Have a good one.